In today's video, I'll be answering the question of how do you complete a transfer to another provider in the UK. This is a topic which a lot of people of you watching the channel obviously are going to try to understand, particularly if you're approaching towards the end of your career or your early retirement. You're suddenly looking back at some 10, 20, 30, 40 years of pensions that you contributed to. It's potentially a bit of a mess having them in lots of different places. How do you consolidate them down together? Or alternatively, you might be at the start of your career and it might just be one pension that you're looking to transfer. The answer to this is A, very simply, but also at the same time it can be very complicated. Okay, so to break it down, if you just have one pension pot and you want to transfer it to another pension scheme, all you actually have to do, if it's a defined contribution scheme and you have no safeguarded assets over £30,000, which would make it a defined benefit scheme, you simply need to inform your existing UK provider and inform the new UK provider that you want to complete a pension transfer. Sounds easy. If it was so easy though, a lot of people would not be using financial advisors, which obviously people do. The reason it gets very complicated is the level of paperwork, legislation and regulation which is involved in pension transfers. The reason for this is simple, in my opinion, and it comes down to either poor quality financial advice or just, put simply, scams. People trying to get people to transfer out of a pension scheme to do something stupid with their money or potentially try to take advantage of them. So very, very simple what needs to be done, but actually very complicated often in terms of how it's done. If you do it yourself though, you do not need advice. If you've already decided where you want to complete the pension transfer, you can just do it yourself independently, but you have to understand there's going to often be a huge amount of work that needs to go into that. You're going to have to communicate with the schemes, you're going to have to fill in the forms, and also you have to ask yourself, what is your level of experience in managing money? Okay? I don't really understand why money seems to be a topic that we all think we're very, very good at and we have great experience at and we're going to manage our money ourselves. It's a little bit like saying, oh, I'm going to do all my cars myself. I'm going to service all my cars myself and look after them all myself. It doesn't really make sense to me. If you say you have £500,000 in a pension pot that you're looking to consolidate, you may well look online and think, okay, I want to reduce all my costs and have no financial advisor. That's going to ruin my retirement and I'm going to lose so much compounded growth, etc. Yes, by having a financial advisor at 1%, you are going to lose compounded growth. But what do you get in return for that 1%? Talk very clearly with your financial advisor. What are you going to be providing for 1% per annum? The old school financial advisors may well just be charging 1%, sending you an evaluation statement once a year and asking you how the kids and grandkids are and talking about the football. Fantastic. If they're doing great financial planning work in the background, fantastic portfolio, helping you do lots of holistic things, fantastic, great. But what you really need is a financial advisor who is actually doing all that work with you in the background and tells you they're going to be doing that from the beginning. A lot of people are getting taken advantage of, and obviously consumer duty has now come into the UK, which is guidance and not regulation, we have to remember, but further putting pressure on advisory firms, platforms, everyone in the industry to make sure that clients are being delivered value. The alternative, if you want to complete a defined contribution transfer of a financial advisor, is to simply take yourself through an advice process. Now, even if you're still considering to transfer the pension pot yourself, I would go through a full advice process with a regulated financial advisor in the UK to understand what their advice would be. I don't know of any financial advisory firm in the UK that charges for a defined contribution pension report. Most people produce pension reports for free for you to then make an educated and informed decision. So you quite literally have nothing to lose. You could take all of the advice they give you and you could go and set up that SIPP and you could use the exact same underlying portfolio. It doesn't say on the bottom of the report, you cannot use any of this information for your own personal gain. Of course, you could go and create that own model portfolio, whatever it is. However, you have to ask yourself, if you didn't have the ability to put together that portfolio for yourself in the first place, the geographical splits, the equity weighting, the fixed income weighting in relation to your risk profile, how are you potentially going to adjust it again in the future? Are you always going to go to another financial advisor to try to get a free report to them to then update yours? Doesn't really make sense. And also outside of that, unless you are a financial expert and unless you're just simply on it, you have your wills, you have your lasting power of attorney done, you're maximising your ISAs, you're maximising your pension contribution allowances per year, you've got everything in place, everything is done in terms of your financial planning, and you're the perfect client and you don't need financial advice, fantastic. but I met and speak with clients on an ongoing basis, and even the ones who say, no, I have everything organized, within 45 minutes of doing a fact find with them, I've pretty much destroyed the fact that they thought their finances were in a good position. I've highlighted 7 or 8 key areas that they may wish to work on over the course of the next 2 to 3 years. There's normally the one priority at the beginning, which is getting the pension transfer done or whatever it might be, but there's so much gardening to be done in the background. And if you don't do the gardening correctly, it sounds cheesy, but your finances won't flourish, in my opinion. If you're not taking the correct amount of equity weighting risk, for example, you might be 65 and you might, in your head, you have, okay, I'm entering decumulation stage, etc. But at the same time, if you're saying to me, Dominic, my pension pot is what I want to pass on to my children, I'm going to be drawing down from other places, you don't need to have the same level of fixed income weighting inside your pension pot as possibly other 65-year-olds who are actually drawing down on that capital straight away. Even the 65-year-olds that are drawing down on that capital straight away, there's still the argument the pension pot's going to last for 20 to 30 years. So you don't need to go overboard into fixed income and bonds, etc. You still need to maintain a level of equity weighting that you're comfortable with in terms of the volatility and risk. So very short answer, you can do it yourself, but I would always advise people to go via a pension transfer advisor. If your pension pot is of a very low value, it may well be that the pension transfer advisor cannot work with you because obviously the costs involved of running an FCA regulated outfit are pretty expensive, but you can at least have a conversation with them and they might be able to point you in the right direction. They can't give you any advice, but more than happy to give you guidance. And here at Cameron James, if you call the telephone number or you drop us an email, we will always provide guidance at the beginning, even if we're not producing an official advice report for you. If you go away from having a conversation with us after 5, 10, 15 minutes or a couple of email exchanges and you say, thanks so much, I really understood that topic in more detail, that's a win for us. Because we genuinely believe the more people you help, the more people that spread the word, and generally after that, the more clients will come and work with us here at Cameron James. As always, take care of your UK pension assets and speak soon.